Hey guys, welcome back. So guys, in this video, we are going to learn how to make a CRUD application in Laravel Breeze. Okay, so we'll be using the component and making the CRUD application. Okay, so guys, now let's get started. So first step, let me just show you the login over here. So if you don't know how to create a login and registration system in Laravel using Breeze package, please watch out the video link given in the description. So now guys, let's log in gmail.com. Perfect. So now guys, let's go to this dashboard and add one navigation as a add student. Okay, so we'll be making a student CRUD application. So guys, now let's move to our editor. So guys, before getting started, I'm using the Laravel 9 version over here right now, as you can see. Now let's begin with resource views. Over here you find that dashboard, right? So what component it is going? App layout. Okay, so let's move to layouts. Here app.blade.php file. So inside this guys, you can find this navigation, layout navigation. So inside your layouts you find the navigation. Okay, so now guys, here you find your nav link of the dashboard. Done. So let's copy this and paste once again over here and make this to add student. All set, and let's change the route, add student. So I'm not going to use route, instead I'll give URL, and here we are going to set it to active, so you can make that add student. Done. So guys, how this is working? So this is nothing but your blade file which is created under the component. So you can find this component folder. So make sure just ignore this X and you can see that nav link. Okay, so let's go to that nav link here, and you can see a simple a tag which the class is assigned inside this classes. So this is your classes used to design the a tag. Okay, and this a tag is called in your nav link. That's it, and we are sending the href and this is active. Let's get back, and now guys, let's refresh and check. So if you refresh, you find the add student. Perfect. So now if you click on the add student, here you get the route. So let's get back. So guys, now let's begin with our student CRUD application part. So first we have to create the migration table, controller and your model. Okay, so let me close all the files not required now. Let's open the terminal. So guys, let's create the migration. PHP artisan make colon migration, which is create underscore students table. Okay, hit enter. So migration created migration. Let's go to database migration. At the last you can find your students table. So now guys, for students record, I'm just going to insert name, email and phone number. Okay, that's it. So now guys, let's migrate this. PHP artisan migrate, hit enter. Migrated. Done. And now let's create the model. PHP artisan make colon model student model. Okay, so just add student. Okay, misspelling. So let's add artisan, hit enter. Model created successfully. Now you can go to your models student.php. Perfect. So now guys, let's call the table. Dollar table is equal to where my table name is students. You can just clarify, copy and paste. And now let's call the fillables. Fillable, which is name, email, phone. That's it. So now guys, let's create the controller. Make colon controller with student controller. Hit enter. Perfect. Controller created successfully. Let's go to app http controller where student controller. So now guys, let's public function create function at this create function, let's return view students folder dot create file. Okay, so now let's go to our resource views, and inside this views let's create a folder with the name student, and inside the student create a file create.blade.php. All done. Yep. And now guys, let's call this file create file in your browser at this student. So for that, let's set up that guys first. So first thing, we will include this app one, x of app hyphen layout. All done. And now you can call your header as shown in the dashboard. Okay, so let's copy this and paste that. This will be a add student, and this is will be your content. So at this place guys, you can start with your form. Okay, so before starting, let's see the output first. Okay, so if you go to this, you will find 404. Why? Because we have not set the route. Yep. Let's go to the routes. Okay, routes web.php. Here guys, Laravel 9 gives a more comfortable way to use the controller. So let's go to its documentation, and here you find with the routes group. Okay, so let's go at the route groups. Done. Let's go to the routing. At this routing, so you'll find your route groups at this controller. Okay, so click on that controller. Here you move, and this is how you're going to use. Let's copy this, paste. All done. So now guys, over here you're going to call your controller path. So you can go to your student controller, just copy this path namespace and get back to your and paste here. Now you can call the student controller class name. Let's copy the student controller. Done. So now guys, you can just call with the get method where add hyphen student. Okay, so whatever the path you have called, as you can see, that is add student. Okay, so let's copy this route, add student. That's it. And where you are going to create function. So let's copy this create and go to your student controller at the create function here. All done. And now this goes to your create blade. So now guys, let's see the output. Now refresh. Perfect. So our file setup is done. Now guys, let's create the form and save the data. As simple. So it's very simple method to store the data. Send the post method and CSRF token. So now guys, let's create the input fields. Okay, so you can just use this component also over here, which is given here. Okay, input. Like if you don't know to use, we can just copy from our auth. Go to auth and login blade. Here we find the label and inputs. So let's copy this new things. Let me close this terminal. All done. So guys, let's set the label as student name. Here will be name. Copy and paste for this name. And then your type is text. The input field is going to be name. And value also we are going to keep name. That's it. And it is required guys. All done. Let's copy this once again. Paste and paste. So next was student email. So you can just, so now you can change this email, and text type also you can make it to email. All set. Now you can set it to phone. Third option. And here the value of this old is phone, name also is phone, and this type will be text itself. All set. So now guys, a button we required. Let's see we have the component or not. Let me close all these files. Okay, so inside our component you can find that button also is there. So let's copy from the login itself. Let's move below, and here you see the button. So let's copy this button and paste. So yep, let me start the div and end the div for this. Save student. And if you want to see this button is submit the or it's just a button, let's go to the component and check with this button, and you find that its type is submit. Okay, so not to worry. Let's set the route, which is URL, where you're going to add -student. Okay, so you are going to use the post method to save this record. Let's go to web.php, get the route using post method, add student, and then you're going to store function. Okay, so before this saving the data, let's check the form design. Okay, perfect. Here we look, it looks cool, but the form is too lengthy. So what we can do is that add py4 and px4 here, save, and now refresh. Perfect. So it looks cool now. So now guys, let's get started with inserting the data. Let's get back. So now let's go to web.php. So once you add or store the student, let's go to the controller and create a store function. So public function called store function. Oops, public spelling misspelled. And now let's create the validation part first. So we can tell student form request $request. So for this guys, you need to create the request form. Let's create that PHP artisan make :request where student form request. Hit enter. So request is created. Let's go to the request and you find your student request. So now guys, authorization, make it to true. And for the validation, let's add that inside single quotes. Let's give the name, and here you add width like it is required, and max length is 255. Let me copy this, paste. So second is the email and third is the phone. For email, you can add the email validation. Let's give the comma, and for this phone number, let's remove it, not required. Just give a required. Okay, save, and let's get back to our store function, add student controller, and now let's create a variable called data is equal to $request your this request. Okay, it should be validated function. So all the validated your data you're getting, and let's store this into our database. So for this guys, you can just create a variable called student is equal to student model : create function, and just send the data. Okay, so that means it will accept all the input fields and directly insert into the database. So if you have a different method, you can just create step by step also. So let me just show you one demo over here. Okay, so let me copy and paste. Right now, let's take this, create an array where your column field name, which should be data of input field name. Okay, so this is the way, and for your email, and next was for the phone. So it's for the phone. Okay, why we are doing this method? Because it's all the same column fields which from the input and your database. So we use this method also. Okay, so it depends on you however you want to save it. So now guys, once you save, let me just remove it, not required. So once you save, let's return and redirect back with the message. So let's show the message. You can tell this student added successfully. Where you want to redirect back is actually on the student page itself. Okay, add student. Let's get back and paste here. So now guys, once you redirect over there, you are going to show this message, right? So for that, let's go to on create.blade.php at the student form. So above, inside this only, we will show the message. So how you can show this message? Okay, so this is the message. Or now to show the message, let's see the login code, and here you see one component which is session status. It has been used. Okay, so what you can do, you can copy this and paste here. So which means it is calling this. Okay, inside your auth, it's auth session status, but it's not auth, it's general also. So let's remove this and create a success status. Okay, so let's tell success status. Let's copy and create one blade file, success status.blade.php. Yep, and now you can copy that same code and paste inside your success status. Save it and let's call this success status in your blade file. Okay, so here is our success status, and instead of this status, let's send the message. Okay, so whatever we are sending from our student controller. So let's test this guys, whether it works or not. Okay, so let's get back, and yep, let me insert with Prakash with at gmail.com, some random digit. Let's save student, and here you see. Okay, so form request. Oops, we have not included the classes. Let's include that. So first we need to import this. Okay, class imported, and this is your student model. Let's import this model also. Done. Now let's save and let's try once again. Okay, so let's save. Perfect. You can see that guys, the message is shown over here. Student added successfully. Perfect. It's working fine. So whatever we are sending from here with the message, it's calling that message session and showing the data. So now guys, what in case of error? Like if you try to submit, okay, let me add this. Let me remove that. So let's remove this required field from 3 input. Save it, refresh. Okay, so now let's click on save. Here you see you are back, but you did not see all the errors. So for that case guys, you are going to show the same. Okay, let's copy the component. It's already given, I think. So you can see that the auth validation errors. Okay, so instead of auth validation error, let's tell validation error itself. Okay, let's create new file, tell validation errors dot blade dot php. All set. So let's copy that auth validation error code. Copy, let's close that and get back to your validation error, and here you set with the errors. Done. So now let's call this component inside our create blade file. Copy and paste and call the validation errors errors. Okay, and inside this you are going to send the error code. So let me just show you that in the login page itself. Here you find all the dollar errors. Okay, so let's copy this, paste it. All set. So if you want to know how this is coming over here, you can just check in this file dollar error itself. Okay, this errors colon errors. Okay, so this works on that and send all the errors. So guys, now let's refresh once. So you find no errors with the refresh. And now if you try to submit, save student, and here you find the list. Whoops, something went wrong and name, email, phone field is required. Okay. So guys, let me just insert one more record like Om Prakash, om@gmail.com, some random digit phone number, save student. Here you see student added successfully. Now let me just show you in the database. Here is my students table. Here you see two records inserted successfully. Perfect. So guys, in this video, we have learned how to insert the data into our database using Laravel Breeze CRUD application. Okay. So guys, now let's continue next video with fetching the data and edit, update, delete. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like and share.